Lydia is joining us today.
Yay!
It's her first Comic-Con.
Oh, awesome.
So, yeah.
Well, how has that been for you?
It's been fun.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun.
Crazy. It's a little crazy.
She follows us from room to room, and I was like, "Can't you just?"
But you have to be, experiencing it.
So she's never really joined me on any sort of work excursion ever, except she's been a set a couple times, but that's it. So, in 9 years of acting, I was like, "You should come see."
Yeah. It's definitely an experience. My dad's gone with me once and then was like,
I'm
it's a
done.
little too much.
Yeah, I'm sure she's like, it's enough this year. Yeah.
That's a kind of good starting place because I've heard you talk before about like the kind of difference between like being just like a working actor and like there are other people who are on shows with this viewership but they don't have sort of the intense scrutiny. They don't like, you know, the kind of the niche like subculture interest. Did you ever expect like to be involved in that kind of thing? Like was that something you were aware of when you started acting, that you know there were these sort of like that you could be in the position of this kind of cult favorite situation?
I would say Team was such an interesting position in that usually shows that have such an intense, passionate cult following from the fans' perspective is also huge in Hollywood. And we've had this bit of a rock and a hard place where we were on a newer scripted network, and so we were one of the first shows to become successful on MTV as a scripted network.
Yeah.
And so we still felt from our side of the professional standpoint, as far as auditions go and exposure, we still felt like the leaders that could in Hollywood.
Yeah.
So to get such love from our fans, it's really been such a grassroots organization on their behalf. And we can actually say that we are here actually because of them, not because we were pushed in these sneaky ways, supportive ways to get to
the fame and the hype is sort of more of a direct like fan to show rather than, you know, promo or the network.
I mean, we didn't have
kind of thing.
A fraction of the marketing that the other shows have had. And the fraction of the exposure as a newly scripted network when people are looking for scripted content. So we were one of the only ones to, you know, at least in the beginning. And so, it is literally the fans, and we are so grateful for them. It's been a really unique, special experience for me to have. I mean, I think it's just rare, and it's not, the chances of that happening again are, the chances of going on to another show that's this successful, I mean, that's a tough one. Of course, I hope, but you never know.
Does it change the consciousness of how you guys sort of have to relate to doing, media and the world and stuff like that, as opposed to people who kind of don't really go one-on-one with their fans that much, you know, like even something like Law and Order?
I would say the relationship to the media, it's made it easier because the fans are so welcoming, and you feel like you already know them because of social media and because they are a notch above of the other fans to other shows, in my opinion. So I would say it just makes it more comfortable. It makes it all feel like one big block party.
So we're going to talk about season.
Considering we're losing strong female characters left and right, how do you think your relationship with Malia is going to develop, as you guys are kind of the two strong females left in the pack now?
Yeah, Malia and I have a lot of great scenes this season. I think she keeps up her physicality and how she interprets the world, and Lydia has her grandmaster macro plans with, obviously her intelligence going against Malia's interesting perspective, fresh perspective on the world and how the world works. So seeing the dichotomy is quite funny. At least it was when we were acting it, and I think that it's needed. It's her fighting skills and Lydia's intelligence is needed in this particular conundrum that Megan is facing.
Especially without, obviously you can't get around too many spoilers, but with the VR experience kind of gave us some insight with the ghost writers and how these villains are almost more cerebral because they're taking away memories and they're taking away a lot more agency from you, and that's almost more terrifying than someone who can do something physically too, because they're taking away things of your memory. And a lot of what Lydia does is not something that can be done physically. Like, how is that going to affect her in this season? Is she going to feel stronger? Like, how much, talk about it without...
Yeah, I would say the problem in season 6A is similar to the problem in 3A. It is definitely more of a psychological problem than a physical problem. Well, actually, there's two villains dual villains in this season, and one of them is certainly more psychological. And I think there seems to be a lot more, I think a lot more conversations about Alzheimer's and what is that like to lose your memory? What is that process? And it's one of the most painful diseases out there. And so, in a weird way, we deal with similar issues. And that what is it like to lose your memory? And VR touched on it, and it's going to be a huge theme in season 6.
And yeah, she seems to be able to know in the VR at least that she's aware that her power can fight it in some way. So that'll be a pretty big theme as well.
Yeah, I mean, Lydia as usual, has a central role to solving some of these crimes, but perhaps because the people it's affecting during the season are pretty central as well. It carries a bit more weight. Yeah.